Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, will Stephen A. Smith ever stop hating on Kawhi Leonard? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, make sure you check out Dreamerspro Max, an online sports community, a place we created where you can go and start basketball discussions, chat live during games, and so many other cool things. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check that out. We have that linked in the description below and get 7 days of access. Also, make sure you check out, make sure you go ahead and click the join button to join our channel to receive loyalty badges from our channel. Also, to ensure whenever we go live and you leave a comment, we respond to it. So make sure you go ahead and do that. It's next to the subscribe button. So anyway, let me get into this topic here, right? Every once in a while, every blue moon, we make a video on Kawhi Leonard and Stephen A. Smith. Usually, these videos are prompted by Stephen A. Smith, right? I was listening to Stephen A. Smith just the other day, just like 2 days ago, and he was getting back on Kawhi Leonard's case. So I said, okay, we're going to do something around this when we get the time. Now, no one has doubted Kawhi Leonard more over the past 2 years than Stephen A. Smith. If we're going a little bit further, then the person that's doubted him the most has been Skip Bayless. Because remember, Kawhi Leonard used to started his career playing with the San Antonio Spurs. Although he was drafted by the Indiana Pacers, he played with the San Antonio Spurs. He won a title there, and then he had the issue with the medical staff of the Spurs, and he felt like he was being misdiagnosed. They were trying to rush him back on the court, and there was that thing where Tony Parker and Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and these guys basically they cornered Kawhi Leonard. And they asked him in the locker room, like, hey, bro, why aren't you playing? And then there was this whole thing, right? Kawhi Leonard ended up not trusting the organization, ultimately leaving to go play with the Toronto Raptors, although he missed pretty much a year of basketball because he was trying to get himself together. And during that time frame, Skip Bayless basically said that he quit on the Spurs. He said Kawhi Leonard wanted no part of the Spurs. He said he couldn't handle the spotlight of being on the Spurs, all of these different things, right? So Skip Bayless was very, very critical of Kawhi Leonard 2 years before, just if we're going more than 2 years back, he was very critical, but then he ultimately changed his tune on Kawhi Leonard. But over the last 2 years, it's been Stephen A. Smith, and every opportunity that Stephen A. has gotten, he takes a shot at Kawhi Leonard for pretty much at every time, right? This goes back 2 years ago when Kawhi joined the Toronto Raptors. Going into those playoffs, Stephen A. Smith picked against Kawhi Leonard for 3 straight rounds. Think about this. He picked against him in the conference semifinals against against the Philadelphia 76ers. He picked the Sixers. Then they go to the conference finals, we all remember. He picked against Kawhi Leonard. So he picked Kawhi to lose after the first game. And then after the second game, he said it was a wrap. He picked against him then. Then going into the NBA finals, he picked against Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors to go out there and win that title. Ultimately, the Toronto Raptors went out there and they made history, and he won, right? And he was wrong about Kawhi Leonard pretty much every single time for 3 straight rounds. It's funny enough, I haven't heard anybody say that Stephen A. Smith should quit his job. Some people have said, oh, you're wrong with the Clippers, you should quit your channel, but Stephen A. Smith gets to keep his job. Right. Anyway, so he was wrong about him. Now, his latest attack was on what he expects from Kawhi Leonard and who he's going to be looking at this year in terms of placing blame on a particular person if their team flames out. Essentially, before we play the audio for you guys, they were talking about the Clippers and how they're going to perform in the playoffs this year. It was kind of the topic kind of came up from talking about the Lakers injury issues, right? And he said, Kawhi Leonard is the guy that he's going to have the spotlight on. So before we go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to this soundbite of Stephen A. Smith once again going at Kawhi Leonard's neck. So before I go too far, take a listen to the audio.
Well, listen, that's a reason to be concerned. Let me tell you something. You shouldn't wish for that, though, because that should make us all sick to our stomach. The fact of the matter is that we are owed an encounter between the Lakers and the Clippers with a conference title on the line, and the person that owes us that most is Kawhi Leonard. He is the face of the franchise. He is the star. He is the 2-time NBA champion, the 2-time NBA Finals MVP. You know what? He came to L.A. with the crown dangling from his convertible, from the mirror on his convertible, driving down the highway in L.A.
He is from California. LeBron's from Cleveland.
I understand all of that, but he came there as a champion, basically saying it's a new sheriff in town. Mm-hmm. That was his attitude towards LeBron, who hadn't made the playoffs in his first year. as a Los Angeles Laker. So LeBron shows up last year. They get through the first round, the second round. They are waiting for the Clippers in the conference finals, and the Clippers had a 3-1 lead and folded like a cheap tent. Bottom line is that Kawhi owes us this encounter. The problem is the Clippers are living up to their end of the bargain. The Lakers at this particular moment in time, albeit due to health reasons, that is not the case.
Now, in that soundbite, Stephen A. Smith is saying that, he's going to be looking at Kawhi Leonard. If the Clippers don't make it through, Kawhi Leonard is the one he's going to be pointing his finger at, all of these different things. And he's saying basically Kawhi Leonard needs to show up and the pressure's on him, all of these different things. And the question is this: how is it possible that the pressure is going to be on Kawhi Leonard, as it should, because there should be, first of all, there should be pressure on everybody, but it shouldn't be distributed evenly, right? There's some people that deserve more pressure than others because some people haven't shown. So how's the pressure going to be more on Kawhi Leonard on the Clippers, but not more on Paul George, who was the one that people are going around calling him Pandemic P and all of it? How is it possible? Like, how is it more on Kawhi Leonard? And Max Kellerman usually asks Stephen A. Smith. He's like, hold up, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Kawhi's a 2-time champion. He's a 2-time finals MVP. Paul George has never even been to the finals, and you're sitting here telling me that the pressure's on Kawhi? What are you talking about? He's like, Kawhi's usually always good. He had a bad game 7. He's usually always good, but Paul George, that hasn't been the case. So how's the pressure on Kawhi Leonard? Even Max Kellerman at times calls him out on his ridiculous hypocritical takes, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" Right? And it seems to be, Stephen A. Smith. This has become a regularity for him. Another thing is the way Stephen A. Smith talks about Kawhi in terms of he needs to show up, he needs to do this. I never hear him talk about other players like James Harden like that. I never hear Stephen A. Smith talking about James Harden that way. I never hear him talking about Paul George that way, the same way he talks about Kawhi. Hell, I don't even hear him talking about Chris Paul in the same light. But all of a sudden, these are 3 guys I just mentioned that don't even have one NBA championship to their name. Yet Kawhi is the guy that you're going at on the consistent. I want to see what Kawhi got. And I'm like, what about all these other guys? Why are you giving all of these guys the benefit of the doubt? But it's never on Kawhi. But it's always on. You never give Kawhi Leonard the benefit of the doubt, right? He's always hating on him. Another situation was the situation before the Clippers ultimately signed Kawhi. There was some stories around, Kawhi Leonard asking for some things, like I think they said he requested a plane or whatever the story was. And the way he couched the argument, he was making it seem as if Kawhi was the only one that's ever asked for some things that, ever asked for things that maybe he may be going too far. And I'm like, this happens all the time. It was so bad at one point in the Miami Heat where Pat Riley, you all know who runs that organization, when LeBron wanted his friends to run the organization, he was like, no. And LeBron wasn't feeling it, so he left. And Pat Riley was like, bye. Like, Pat Riley was like, no, you could be a star of the team, but your friends are not going to be coming up in here calling the shots. No way. He got him up. He said, you can leave. Right? So this has happened many, many times before. But why he always seems to focus on Kawhi Leonard, I have no idea. Right? I don't know. Some people have said maybe Kawhi doesn't want to take an interview with him. I don't know what it is. But he's always hating on him. And my question is, why? The guy's already proven himself. Not to say that his story's done, like he can't go out there and win more titles, like as if his legacy is solidified, is set in stone. No. But you talk about the guy like as if he doesn't have rings. And I never hear you come at other guys who don't have rings the same way you come at Kawhi Leonard. And then for you to say, if Paul George goes out there, he doesn't play well, you're still looking at Kawhi? Why? Like, I don't understand that. If LeBron comes back this year and Anthony Davis is not 100%, right? Or if LeBron comes back and he plays well and Anthony Davis doesn't play well, you're going to be looking at LeBron? You're going to blame it on LeBron? If AD's out there scoring 15, 18 points a night, LeBron is scoring 25, 26 points a night, getting you 8 rebounds, 8 assists, doing his thing, you're going to be talking about, oh, I'm looking at LeBron? Like, what are you talking about? No, the co-star needs to show up, especially if that co-star over the last 2 years has not been showing up in the playoffs. So how is it that you're going to look at LeBron? You're not going to look at LeBron. No one will look at LeBron, right? But if it's Kawhi Leonard, oh, we need to sit back and look at Kawhi. What is Kawhi Leonard doing? I just think it's a little bit hypocritical, and I think the only way Kawhi Leonard can shut up Stephen A. Smith is to go to the finals. And funny enough, even if he does go to the finals, I don't think that's going to fully shut him up. Because if he goes to the finals and lose to a fully loaded Brooklyn Nets team, he goes, you should have beat the Brooklyn Nets. But let it be LeBron against the finals against a fully loaded Golden State Warriors team, they'll say, oh, they were too much. And I'm sure Stephen A. Smith is going to take that same tune. So for me, I just think he's always hating on him, but that's just what I think. So what I want to know from you guys is, will he ever stop? Like, is he ever going to stop? And is the only way for Kawhi Leonard to shut him up to win a title? Is that the only thing that's going to stop Stephen A. Smith? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, it's your Charles here from Dreamers Pro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.